they look at the series them. The IGR done the pool. We then call tragedy of politics. We say then they look at different institutions them, like the state-owned enterprise them. We say one reports we then pull this bentham show say government don't lost but $1.5 billion now three state-owned enterprises them inside the last 15 years. Well, inside 2023, IGR begin for review state-owned enterprise them we now government's own business them we say then scope the cover but 20 state-owned enterprise them and then being don't they do this they don't do the first edition and pull the second edition now. We, as I mentioned earlier, the editions that they can call them all the editions now tragedy of politics. We say then they look at the performance of state-owned enterprises them. Well, we get the executive director for the Institute for Governance Reform IGR, Andrew Lavalie, for can tell we but this second edition of the study with them poll. Good morning and welcome to the program, Andrew Lavalie again.
Good morning, listeners and viewers online as well.
From the background we don't give sometime back inside last year, IGR been pulled a report to say them begin pull a series with entitled Tragedy of Politics. When I look at state-owned enterprises them, now the second edition don't come up. We say when I discover say government dollars about 1.5 billion three state-owned enterprises them in 15 years. We of course state-owned enterprises then are government institutions there or government business them where they establish for cushion government or for help government for generate, but government they lost plenty couple. But before we can look at this edition, let we look at what to make IGR and partners then decide for look at state-owned enterprises them and name and tragedy of politics.
Thank you very much. You know, what was the tragedies of politics? In fact, it get plural. It actually means some decision that they with politicians that they make we all the suffer. So inside volume 1 of state-owned enterprises, we actually look at privatization, how the decisions around privatization they make the nation suffer. And inside volume 2, what we just launched yesterday, it is show how if you take the right decision on privatization, it will make that suffering that burden them the less. So we don't see say people that can get away with then they compensate. Politicians that can get away with they compensate then supporters then. So for example, somebody don't support me, I don't win election. They talk say no, after I don't win election, you go sit on Agbaramu your checkpoint. And I know say you go build host after 2-3 years. So unfortunately, this has been the nature of politics for long. So we decided for a look at state-owned enterprises in this series. So say in 2004, Tijan Kaba of blessed memory, we decide for privatized state companies. Within our state-owned enterprises, we talk about companies like SLPNB, we talk about companies like Seratel. We talk about companies like Lotto, then company and the 20 of them. In fact, if you get a state-owned enterprises law bill where they talk say we get for sell them and they're waiting in privatization a big word. We talk say government say we're not able to manage anything here fine. We need for give her out for the private sector manager. So now that we call privatization. We realize what happened after that. They established a privatization commission, and under APC under SLPP, it is Sicilian Privatization Commission. Now, highly placed politicians now they can serve there, and you can see state-owned enterprises them. Their side and the other side they generate money, and at their side and they make the biggest loss, and to some point we accrue the biggest debt. So I see when I mention in a headline just one statement, one line we'll make in the documentary film. They actually encourage Fambulen for look at the documentary. They make rounds now, both volumes 1 and 2. We call them tragedies of politics. So we look at EDSA alone, inside the last 15 years, even though Sierra Leone they get better light, we don't lost past $985 million, just EDSA. Because every month you can see like the car power ship is a car with big bill. 7-8 million with the kids. So we calculate down the overtime you look at the duty waivers. So between them two come, of course, Sarah tell it don't go, it don't moribund.
We dey look at the institutions, the way government don lost them corporea and how they lost the corpus then and then enterprises they also. But earlier you make mention of looking at state-owned enterprises them. I earlier ask what make Buna among plenty issues them decide for look at state-owned enterprises then and then performance.
It's important because we don't see, say, now the area that they will actually generate money and for, you know, not only revenue for government, but by right for create jobs. And if it creates jobs, it will create wealth for households and families. And not get me wrong, they talk about privatization will not just mean, say, now private sector don't do the work. Because we don't see in other economies such as South Korea, South Korea, I don't call it Singapore rather, sorry. So they see Southeast Asia, state-owned enterprises then really thrive because we a leader such as Equally, we they establish a company, for example, we they establish a transport hub. If they talk to this transport hub, they would establish with this money in the next 10 years, one for let it grow and let it be the transport hub for Southeast Asia. And then they actually get competent people then give them stiff performance benchmark. And if you not comply with that performance benchmark, they sack you. So you see, say, you get all that context with state-owned enterprise and they actually thrive and then they actually make economies grow. But in Sierra Leone, you see, say, all of them companies and they with President Kaba being privatized 20 years ago, be put on the list for privatization 20 years ago. They're not being get debt. But if you watch now, the debt upon debt we don't accrue over time. It's too much. And Musa asked a question, why would they study them? Would they study them because just this year, President Bill don't launch the medium-term development plan, whether from now on to 2030. Musa we expect for getting money then for fund. So there is no way for law getting money there for fund if the economic activities them within the country they're not strong enough for law funding then the activities in it. I mean, so if we not like right now inside with development plan, we not really get a portion where they say 30% of their money here for fund the activities that will pick in healthcare, education, they get for come up from state-owned enterprises. And we'll get for make sure, or even would they privatize the state-owned enterprises, the contribution of the private sector. Now we don't talk, say, we want to create 500,000 jobs. And then 500,000 jobs then, government already talk, say, 70% of them get for come up from the private sector.
Right.
So if we know, treat privatization seriously, and by extension, people that will not get any experience for actually manage enterprises, just because we get their support we politically, we put them at the enterprises, then we would just change government like t-shirt, but we condition the change. So we decide for study this because government, we understand they actually try for review the state-owned enterprise law, the arrangement around them. So we actually do a flashback. We will do them with Ban, with Carl, then for let we see what you for do like for strengthening the institutions there. Inside volume 1, you actually see 3 clear areas where people can see, say, now the thing that this way they make state enterprises, then they fail. And inside volume 2, we actually take an example of a state-owned enterprise where they move from the state-owned enterprise and then privatize. We see the return way we'll get on the handle.
All right. Inside this report, on a pool, on a look at different institutions, them Saratel, Road Transport Corporation, EDSA, Lotto, SLPMB, and few others. Now, let me take them step by step. For Saratel, what thing go wrong? We make this institution able to stand.
I remember we've been small, Saratel have been not only the go-to area, but in fact, but before I go to your question, when we be young, state-owned enterprises necessarily be actually effective in many ways, because you see, most of the asset then with Sierra Leone get inside London. Now SLPMB, the profit will be get some Sierra Leone produce marketing board. Now will be used for invest they follow buy them the asset and they host all the high commission will get it. So your question really right as to what make the institutions in the field. So you get 3 responses that with the inside volume 1. The first one, that in the first place there is no commitment to privatization, because society commitment to privatization, you actually get timeline, and you develop a proper competition law saying now so people can get for compete for this, and if we don't compete now, so with the guide the private sector competition within the space. So we see there was no commitment. What we see, their asset then they too often are the asset then they sell to other institutions. So for example, we see say asset we meant for government corporation, a state-owned enterprise, they can quietly sell onto private sector institutions because there was no commitment, say, one law privatized. So then they actually lock in the state-owned, the asset of the state-owned enterprise, then they gradually settle. When we see SLPMB, for example, SLPMB now, they sell them warehouse now. Most of the asset then across the country, they sell them to private cocoa exporters. The one really interesting are the one at Clienttown. You can see under the film where the SLPMB actually sell in warehouse in a Clienttown. Then just within that same Clienttown by the port, it go into one small store. And in fact, then they make SLPMB now the least cocoa exporter, not in Sierra Leone in general. I mean, I know compare to other cocoa exporters in the country. So then at one point about the weak commitment to privatization. And too often we can use then state company then they for finance politics. So, and because of that, they will not really get good performance benchmark. And the third one, the third one we mentioned by one of our colleagues in the film, you see say the state for really try first and foremost for reduce corruption. Because if there is corruption within the state, that language they go inside and it actually count to we NGOs then, that mode of operation will go to private sector as well. If I were a full barometer look at corruption figures, in 2014, for example, we realized say by 2013, at that time they were state-owned banks then, Rokel Commercial Bank, Sierra Leone Commercial Bank, they almost don't collapse by 2013 for the same reasons we don't show. Because like place for finance politics, you see say within two banks and they collapse, most of them bad debtors were politicians or people that were aligned with politics. So in fact, we see the Bank of Sierra Leone, just one debtor, it almost take like $20 million. We make them banks and the banking sector may get problems around that same time.
All right.
So politics, the way they use their enterprises and they for finance politics, it's better now because it used to be very, very bad. So now it makes some of them and then they affect. So we get for Singapore and other countries and they succeed because they actually reduce corruption to the barest minimum. Because that's stewardship where the state gets. Now they extend to other institutions.
All right, still get to do with politics now. So main institution them over the past year, we don't see government after government they appoint people them for head certain key important institution them we suppose for generate revenue for government, and anytime we any president can come, you can see he appoint this certain person for head decide. Despite at times people can question the credibility on either the skills and knowledge of that particular individual. Now, in any way, politics, as you mentioned, don't they unbog, some of the institution they by appointing, certain people within a certain political party?
Definitely, because for let you manage a state-owned enterprise or an enterprise in general, you actually need to get a certain experience in managing private sector, in delivering results in the private sector, even at the public sector in delivering results. We can actually see somebody we know get any background for deliver any results, be it private sector, be it public sector. It take then give them the appointment then. So in fact that makes somebody cynically talk at the time when they do the interviews. He says some of them company there, the one way they make the appointment there, and then get and bring, not so then kind of people that them with the appointment in places then they. So I think say if you watch the film, the Center for Accountability and the Rule of Law director Carl, he mentioned say if we not get performance standards, I don't know if any of you, I mean, una senior journalists them. But I don't know if una know about any performance standards for any of them state-owned enterprises and parastatals. Waiting they get for meet, how are they assessed? Waiting at the benchmark waiting for meet. Because if you don't meet certain benchmark, you should be fired. We actually look like when they review Lotto, for example. We realize that the state lottery, Sierra Leone are the only place who see state lottery they record losses. Because the way that you do Lotto, state lottery or lottery, now they set the odds and call and setting the odds. So if not 100 million kinds of people then play, now they talk say this week here now 5 million and they win 95 million really now for profit. So if you the losses per lottery, then you see at any time the last budget hearing, 2 budget hearings now, you see the manager they go they talk say a company don't they lost, but I really want to let you more salaries from the people then. No. So I think that is really concerning.
Now let me look at the National Commission for Privatization we government established on November 2002 with the aim of honor for privatize and reform public enterprises them. This body don't exist and the current chairperson for that commission now Dr. Prince Alex Harding. 2 years back inside budget discussion, one of the promise he give to the media now for develop a matrix for look at performance of state-owned enterprises them and government intervene for make them more vibrant. In this one report, we not capture any efforts from the NCP, National Commission for Privatization, for ensure say them provide the oversight or provide the guidance for the enterprises here so for make them reach the heights with them for reach.
So you don't see them, you don't see that progress on that. So as a seasoned journalist in Sierra Leone, I think so you've already been tell the public because we know they see them. The reality is, and this with the talk say there is no clear commitment to privatization. So we say you get commitment to privatization and you get clear performance benchmark. A lot of talk says you know I'm privatized. If you want to keep as a state-owned enterprise, you want for let it competes very well with the private sector because I know they really support for let state-owned enterprises they manage companies, for let government really manage companies. In fact, you can see that in the inside volume 2 of this series. Because with politics is such that you will not able to get politicians for let them manage their entities and with the vulture from their entities for finance politics or for reward people.
Now we look at the person we hold the position for the moment. We now Dr. Alex Prince Harding, he mentioned just now say now highly placed politicians then hold some of them position in the current chairman of the Salon People's Party. And the first term of President Bill, we see he hold that position. And second term of President Bill, we see then raise up the profile of the office to cabinet rank.
Exactly.
You think say it based on performance, or is it just based on this person I ranking somebody at the party? If you never go to chairman Louis Gandis, then back go to go cabinet.
No, if you know, in fact, beyond Prince Harding, let you know if you feel say with the pick on him.
No, now in the current holder of the position, we now look at the offices.
Let me just finish. Beyond in law, not just feel say with the pick on him. Most holders of this position, the Commission for Privatization, under both APC and SLPP, they are highly placed party officials. So this really begs the question, the commitment to politics. So you see say, you get high placed political party officials, they hold that position, but they translate into results. Why will not they get performance benchmark? Why will not they actually get performance benchmark? Will not they actually get results from them companies? Yet we have highly placed political party officials. Now that make a lekuna headline when I say in the past 15 years, just from 3 entities, we don't lost over $1.5 billion.
We did a pick on Prince Harding, per se, but in the at the Privatization Commission now, and if they raise onto cabinet rank, that means more is expected. But when we look at one enterprise, we almost done the die out. We in a Saratel. Some time back, the the post wey the head Saratel being actually tell 98.1 say it was 3 months or 4 months. He say if government not come and bail this institution out, he say Saratel they die. That was Fodes and Corden. Since he go on leave, he not come back. Is it that sometimes the people who the head their enterprise are not competent or their hands then tied, not for say what really they happen for make them salvage the situation?
You know what would they see? Would they actually see the bad cases then? And you get some other cases then we will not actually put in the film. But Sierra Leone largely will lack good corporate governance. And we say corporate governance weak. I mean, say for example, if we take Leku Banks, Musa. So if we take Leku Banks, for example, will banks then get shareholders? But waiting at the returns of them, the shareholders, the investment to the one that to the money then, they say it very, very small because Sierra Leone largely lack corporate governance standards. So now that one then affects Seratel. It affects all of the enterprises then we look at. So I only hope there will be like an audit, an integrity audit of the institutions, and they foresee how then they comply to corporate governance standards. The importance of this is beyond then conversation I will make. It's difficult for you get anybody for actually taking money, say, they go invest in banks. Because you not shareholder, you don't put money. Now small money they get in terms of return on the shares. Because the standards of managing their institutions and they not compliant with corporate governance standards. Seratel take an advanced stage of decomposition, but you can actually take Road Transport Corporation as well. If you look inside the video, it actually shows, we always buy bus? We don't buy past 300 buses. But we cannot, Seratel not get capacity for replenish the buses using the transport fee as well. SLR, using the transport fee as well.
SRTC rather.
Road Transport Corporation, sorry. So they see if we not get proper corporate governance standards, and of course this beg the question, we ban Budget Advocacy Network in comment in that documentary film, we say there is no real commitment to privatization. You cannot say I don't put a law in 2002, I get for privatized. Then you keep the entities, then they sell them by part, sometimes secretly. Right. And sometimes when something is lucrative, say, Lord, sell this out. So the question we will for really ask, why we not committed to privatization? And the volume 2 actually they try for it lay out the incentive. So if we privatize this and this really go be to as a way of benefits.
Now we come to the other studio guest. We are the Deputy Minister of Information and Civic Education, Bokari Abdel Aziz Bawo. Good morning, sir. Welcome to Radio Democracy.
Good morning.
I think from we President appoint you, Radio Democracy don't be the first station we can, right?
No, I don't go. SABC.
Okay. Firstly, I want to say congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Position. For somebody with a listen and maybe not know who that na you. Firstly, you would start for tell listeners who that's now Bokari Abdel Aziz Bawo.
Bokari Abdel Aziz Bawo, na Israelian to start with. All of my time, I don't Israeli. 10K school, Government Secondary School, Kenima. Get me first and second degree at Jala University College. Student teacher or lecturer, I'm a guy, teach extensively in a Vine Memorial before I joined the corporate world. I start with Roque Commercial Bank, Go First International Bank, IFAD, Defense for Children, Wet Hunger, before I can government. Before my appointment, I be the director for economic sector at the National Monitoring and Evaluation Directorate in the Office of the President. Now I'm the Deputy Information Minister and Civic Education. Okay.
According to which you don't say you don't work in a plenty institution them, and that shows that a lot of experience don't do. What new you go come with at the ministry this time around?
As a deputy minister, I'm not coming with anything new. I'm coming to be the auxiliary, and it can be auxiliary to the substantive minister for execute the mandate as proposed by His Excellency the President. My role and for support Chernobyl, for see how best the vision of the President for creating this new ministry with a Ministry of Information and Civic Education. We will roll out a mandate properly.
Now, when you look at this office, initially, now being Minister of Information and Communication, now Minister of Information and Civic Education, you've been the second deputy minister to this new office. You get a role for play. But for somebody who they listen to you now, how you go support the minister, as you self mentioned, and the communication setup of government for cascade government messages them across the country?
Like I rightly say, there is a reason why the president try for divorce the information from communication and try for add civic education. We all will attest over the time, information dissemination become a little bit challenged. When you add communication and information, communication gets a lot of things for deal with corporate institutions management, providing oversight for, like we they say, Seratel, Orange, this and that. So it will occupy a lot of the time for the minister. But when you limit the ministry to information, we will provide the oversight for, let's make sure, say, correct information, meet the people in a timely manner, so that we not get the opportunity for let rumor dictate what they happen to people. Adding civic education speaks to a lot of things my colleague they talk about. We need for rebrand the Sierra Leone identity, rebrand with mindset, diverse with daily activities from politics. So that when somebody is given a responsibility, you know, say I'm a Sierra Leonean and I'm serving Sierra Leone. So it is not because I not belong to this party, if they give me position, I want undermine that. It is not because I belong to this political party. If I'm giving a responsibility, I know say if I do anything, they're not going to sack me.
So are we don't Alex, since your appointment into this office, we say go replace the now press secretary?
Well, from what I don't come, me boss, I mean already it don't scan the ministry for look at the ministry in mandate with respect to the existing structures. Do SWOT analysis on all the institutions where we supposed for supervise. We'll also do a management functional review on the system for look at whether there are some institutions we will continue for carry or we let them go and pay attention to really waiting information and civic education supposed to mean.
Whose value will they add into the communication structure? Information structure within government or now the ministry?
The value add I come with a lot of corporate experience.
Okay.
I mean an education specialist. And I'm an specialist, and when you talk about monitoring and evaluation, you want to look at what is the impact produced by every action that they take. Then civic education is very key to the current setup at the ministry. I mean an educationist. I want to see how we will use civic education for increased citizens' responsibility to the state. And women boss it on, I think, not than they are put to her. That's we go for divided portfolio. While somebody is very much visible in information dissemination, the other one pay attention to civic education.
So Usa, you want actually pay attention?
Anytime a boss send me.
Anytime boss send you.
Yeah.
Being Minister of Information or Deputy Minister of Information, you get for the on public forum them for defend government actions them, communicate government policies and strategies them. You say you come up from that corporate world where perhaps it's just behind the scene, but now you come to the public front. How you don't adjust yourself for reach that reality?
And that is what university education they provide, diversity. A lot of people we see in civic, say the civil society world, not necessarily means when they go to university that they go read. But along the line, you develop a career pathway.
Okay.
And she said, this is where I have my strength and I can go this way.
All right. When you start, you mentioned about rebrand the mindset of Salon people and save the country. How on a plan for towards the ministry?
Well, my initial engagement with my boss was like, you don't do very well. In the sense, with daily press briefing at the ministry now, where they bring journalists, bring people where they occupy spaces, MDAs. They ask them questions about what thing they do with respect to the places where they head. The next thing I really lay emphasis on is direct community engagement with people. Because as you know at the talk, yeah, you don't necessarily mean so why is at the talk now? Somebody not gay madam, somebody not pitiful, but they listen me. But when you go meet her, now in village, now in community, and tell her what's in your responsibility as a citizen, that direct communication with her, direct engagement, I think it will go a long way for getting the correct information and for increasing your responsibility to your state.
All right. Information key in any society, as you mentioned, because if citizens they not get the right information, at times they can go with the wrong information. So how una don't they work with other ministries then, so that una within in charge will get the right information for pass on to the public?
Fortunately, I would say fortunately, we say Abede Force, now the National Monitoring Evaluation Directorate. We rule and we look at all which in government they do and report to the president. So from that point, I know everything almost with all MDAs they do. So my first engagement with the minister, Nadande Sala, we have a responsibility to know and communicate everything with other MDAs they do. Because one of the experiences we get while working with NAMED was government they do a lot of things in our community, but you go there, even the farmer chief will tell you, say, I don't know, what's the apple? Meaning, when they do more than what they talk to the people about. So, I think saying Nayana want increase for really collate all the information, then bring it to the people.
All right. Come over to his other studio guests, Wayne and Lavalie. As they have to talk about the report we then pull do. Now, inside the report, as I mentioned earlier, you get different institutions them we wanna look at, but another key institution we over the past year don't they get challenged na EDSA. Waiting so far on a fan out.
So I think I don't state them, but let I just repeat them. So actually, it's a documentary film, not a written report. So all to then seriously as strategies of politics, not documentary films, and we don't realize work in produce reports. Not all man can get time for read them. Not all man can able read them. But in 10 minutes or 6 minutes, if you pack all that information in one film, a lot of people can get access to them. So we talk about EDSA, and one of the things, a lot of homes then they actually get challenges with electricity. And one of the key findings are how much you don't already spend. In fact, we ban the argue in that film, say, that money we don't spend, $585 million, almost $1 billion. In fact, it will pass 1 billion if we actually add now duty-free concessions that we don't get. But in terms of which the money no more they take, say every month you go give to ship where they will not to you $985 million. It's quite a lot. And so states they will not able to get sustainable electricity. So it's the way enterprises are being managed, yes, Musa.
So EDSA they are among the institutions then we
Yes.
got this scope.
Yeah.
What's in the scope of the findings for EDSA? I mean the time limits, time frame.
So now we talk. So we look at EDSA within the last 15 years.
But in the last 15 years, EDSA not been there.
No, which I mean electricity.
Okay,
So we just look
electricity supply only when I look at that.
Yeah.
And the ship now one wanna look into
Yes,
how
yeah.
much in una findings Salon don't spend on the ship in the last 5 or 6, 7 years since the ship
we
came back.
cannot disaggregate, but in terms of electricity expenditure, but in fact the ship 9 carry the vast of the expenditure. So if you take, like, for example, if we spend $6-7 million every month, you multiply down there by 12, you multiply down there by the number of years where the ship don't take.
Okay.
You will actually see the staggering figure, so it gets
Right.
running to hundreds of millions of dollars.
Still get for do with EDSA. Is it that EDSA CSF no get proper structure in place we make up till now, as a country we find it difficult for get access to light?
This report not look at the functionality of EDSA. We look at state-owned enterprises in general. So EDSA have just one spotlight. We'll not do a deep dive. So definitely I will be handicapped for let you actually go into EDSA the operations.
When I actually look at challenges of some of them state-owned enterprises here, so
In general, yes.
because EDSA, when you talk to EDSA, when they present them budget every year, they tell you about how government self own EDSA. Buildings like you building, you they see sometime back, Lavalie they close service on them. You they see EDSA they raise concern. Government buildings in particular, they know they raise concern. They need to buy, they need to pay for lights and also water. And most times, government need to do business to itself.
No,
You
that-
see insurance coming in, government, but government vehicles being insured by private institutions. Una in any way look at the challenge of the state-owned enterprises here.
So all of that they fall inside that broad category to talk about the politicization of institutions. If in a private sector they operate, in that private sector they deliver services to any building, they get there's a possibility say, with the either you take that bill, then people and they to court for let them pay you money, or you find a way for let you do something about your debt. But over and beyond government owing EDSA, we take a lot of things about you if you look the cost of electricity, the unit cost of electricity, it's almost unaffordable. For let you get that car power ship, the unit cost of the megawatt they pay for, as opposed to if we take that same money, they will develop a dam, we will pay like 10 cents per megawatt. In this way, I would get around 24 cents. It's almost unsustainable. On top of that, if we talk about government taking loan and not get without paying in terms of electricity bills. So there is quite a lot. But like I say, we'll not actually delve into the economics of energy inside EDSA. We look at broadly state-owned enterprises then.
All right. So at this point, as a country, what do we need for do as we, for handle a lot of the issues them where this documentary highlight?
So in fact, you will see all of that, most of that inside volume 2, because volume 1 actually paints most of the problems, the challenges them. Then volume 2 talks if government actually, get other partners, other players, especially the private sector, for let it help. It can help. So we take, for example, one entity when telecoms, we managed by a private sector, we in Zood Labs, and the same one facility managed by a government entity, when a SALCAP, say there is this Africa to Europe coastal, fiber cable, the same way the fiber cable land. With the fiber cable land with loan from World Bank, $30 million for Salo manage the fiber cable. And why that they important in the sense that it can make internet cheaper and they make it affordable and they make it efficient and faster. So World Bank give that $30 million. Government may be the manager first. We call them Zood Labs. They call them SALCAP. Under SALCAP, see what happen. Apart from the $30 million, SALCAP go back a loan because of bad management. A loan $500,000 in we look at banking system. They pay tax. We look at the tax. The tax we then owe to NRA. Now $4.8 million. When you watch, waiting they forgive NATCA in terms of fees. They not be pay NATCA in terms of fees. But with Zood Lab can from 2020 after the takeover don't happen. The difference in the documentary says like day and night. Zood Lab they pay $1.8 million to government every year. Because government itself by 2020 realized this one this Alcaba remain the work and Salcab not go able only generate profit, but you not go able make back or pay the money we go to the World Bank. You see, say if you collect now $1.8 million over 15, 16, 17 to 20 years, you will be able to pay that the concession period really longer. Let me just finish this point. When you watch back the money when they pay to NRA, then the Zooblab they pay regularly to NRA. Not that Zooblab is a perfect company, but it's one perfect example of how private sector it can cover the slack. Now imagine say all of them companies there, you actually been privatize them. Then you get that which you call privatization commission. It actually become the regulator where they enforce a competition law and it care about services. In fact, waiting day in that volume to realize the under Zooblab, the price of megabytes from them now to the service providers, it don't reduce from $40 to $10. So as a matter of fact, the documentary the team was silent about where I think we need to talk openly about. By right now, the prices of megabytes to the last mile for reduced. Because with fiber optic, because of better management, then prices they don't reduce. At that level, they from Zooblab now to the ISPs and to the independent the service provider.
How that they possible, Andrew Lavalie, when the telecom company they run by private sector and the aim of any business now for make profits.
Okay.
Now we get Saratel, we reflect or wanna look or review inside this report. We now one of the institutions them we government they lost plenty couple. When them come with floor price and other measures them, when the public is concerned, the Ministry of Information say this now strive for protect the companies them for make them not die out. Somebody ask, why is it governments they put skills for protect private enterprises they make them not die, but that kind of skill they not give to Saratel for make it survive?
Musa, I know they talk about telephone, I talk about internet. I try for talk, but let me finish.
Yeah, but if Saratel sell into the telecom business,
no. I know you talk not different. You actually compare apples and oranges. So what they say, the internet, that fiber optic, we government take $30 million from World Bank for let him manage, and under them internet service is bad under Salcab. The internet cost high because we talk about the wholesale cost. The wholesale cost now waiting Salcab they sell to service providers. That wholesale cost they don't drop. Now they talk about from $40 to $10, 300% reduction in price. So as a matter of fact, then service providers and they now and they try for talk about mobile phone companies. As a matter of fact, now then they sell. Who's how they get internet from? Who's how they get internet from? You get homes and then now you get service providers where they sell internet to the homes and they. We expect say that last mile user, because of that drop in price as a result of efficiency in the management of internet fiber assets, if we reduce them prices and then now they talk about the telephone management.
I continue for the with me inside the program. I'll cover too quickly the Deputy Minister of Information and Civic Education. You don't really concern and other issues them where Mr. Lavalie, mentioned from government angle. We do not think about some of the issues there where the report where IGR Puna do.
For let somebody do research, a lot of money where they put into it. One of the problems we Africa generally get is we know our fund research. We know they do too much research. So anytime somebody spend money for the research, whatever findings he gets for force, commend them for the efforts for go after information and bring the information. I just get a few things like appointments in the institutions. Sometimes the president in Uganda for just nominate. You go to parliament, they look at this person, he's a Sierra Leonean, you get the experience, you not get criminal record, they approve you. So it is not just about the government, even parliament believes say this Sierra Leonean, if we give this responsibility, say they deliver. If then give you go sit on there, you think say and not for do anything, it is also our own responsibility. Take it away from which government get the appointment. Let us look at the individual and say why. Most of the institutions, the private sector, what we talk about, not to other people, they did, as Sierra did it. So if somebody did like where the colleague they talk, Zulad, they do very well. Why if it is Salcab, they don't do well? You are running a state-owned institution, it is fair money for government. And then they make government, they keep them in it. There are some services, government not just one privatizer, because of one, how you define that service. So it keep it to itself for better the service to the people. Because if you left in a private sector, perhaps it will be expensive. These are sometimes the thoughts where government get when they make a whole some of their institutions. But if it give Israelina for runner, then I think say as a citizen, if I compete with the private sector, say, even though this now government business, but I compete with the other people then. That's one thing. My colleague also talked about appointing or giving cabinet rank to the head of NCP. Based on the job requirement of that person, yeah, even first, now the Minister of Information will supervise NCP, will the owner. But now in this supervise a very huge landscape for government. If this person does not go to cabinet to answer to questions, sometimes by year can they, not always minister will go respond to queries about whether you are performing or not. So when they give cabinet rank to that person, now for let the cabinet, the president, get the opportunity for legislature can answer some queries. Not just like compensation, it just increase your responsibility to the state. That not to just minister who come talk about how you perform now. You say will go face the fire now before the president. That is
any change don't happen now this sector since he moved to cabinet rank?
Well, how long they don't get the cabinet rank?
6 months.
And there has been no review.
Okay.
So without the empirical evidence, I can't make a judgment. Like where Andrew do a thorough work and come with this report. If somebody take now a comparative study from when he was not with a cabinet rank to when he is now and bring the record, then you can judge. But if I just say now, no, what are the reference?
Now, you say when he did to Zudla be to do well, when he did Salcab be to do well, is it based on competencies of them people where they manage the institutions are, or the bottleneck in managing government institutions?
What are these bottlenecks? What I'm saying here is the people within Azula are still Sierra Leoneans. The people within Salcab, we are Sierra Leoneans. So if the same Sierra Leoneans can do it at Zulab, why for Ibudua and Salcab?
Most of them state-owned enterprises, they raise concern about government owning them. No, they pay them. And most of the biggest debtors then are government in the state-owned enterprises there also. You somebody will come up from the Minister of or Deputy Minister of Information and Civic Education. That comes in the civic for talk to the institutions there also, but then state-owned enterprise for one do business with them and when do business with them, pay them. Who stand on they take now in the ministry?
Even with my previous position, now National Monitoring Evaluation Directorate, I will sit now the budget hearing. And one thing where Minister of Information be very clear on is when they present budget, what you owe to every state-owned institution, I forcibly declare. So when I give you subvention, if for settle, they never stop anybody for court because everybody they go show say, now this person owe me, and at this I owe this person. On a square of somebody pay in balance. So if Seratel, you owe Seratel, in back owe you. ETSA can owe Seratel owe ETSA. During the year, when I able square of would get balance for pay a pay. But nobody know they say not go after possible for pay you. That's not a good business. But sometimes again, even NCP no one privatize everything. Because anytime you privatize, it gets consequence on job creation. People most lost job. And when people lost job, now government. Right. So for like take that decision, say, let's privatize this institution. Quite apart from every other way they look at. how many people get for lost job. And the institution with the privatize sometimes say, you not get that money, it's for pay off people that benefit. So that's the reason why sometimes government they drag in food for just privatize.
All right. You mentioned, say, it's especially Salcap and Zudlab. Most them na Sierra Leone and them don't work na then two company there. So waiting they go wrong, we make, then same salon people are working in the institution, they not able to manage them unless they privatize them.
That is where we have to increase our civic education. Yeah. If you defend money for somebody, we get for take this money to another country. And the government charge you with the responsibility for defend money for your own country. That same effort where they put in, where they work for the private sector, you forget and where they work for the state enterprise. I don't happen for work either way, like the private sector and for government institutions. We attitude to government are very poor. We attitude to country are very poor. Because somebody just thinks government as something where they exist in their mind. It not belong to ourselves. You understand? Because if you see somebody to work for an institution, they say, government not do this yet. Who is this government? Every the time when they go work, you will see somebody go take 3 hours in office and they do nothing. And they even evaluate himself. For this day work, I work today with your land. How productive am I? For private sector, you don't do that. I remember I work First International Bank. I was forced for work per day. When the boss called me, he said, I'm going back. I said, say today, per day. He said, yes. I said, for go take money. Customer don't call for go take money. I said, I pray day. I said, for go take money, pray day for work out. I said, I'm not get security. He said, so what do you want? Let them take that money, they deposit at other side. Say what affect your salary. I was forced. But if you have a government institution, nobody will even care for calling you. Say if you call yourself in Nigeria, you say, hey, at the holiday. You know why? Sometimes our commitment to the country, now we just need for up a little bit.
All right. Inside the program now, we look at some messages there where people don't send inside the program. And this one say, Mr. Lavalie thinks it's necessary for them privatize EDSA.
Yeah. This one say, what's next after these reports from IGR?
And this other one say, SLPMC stop existing in 2013.
Okay. This one say the story on the sardine factory in West Africa now, Sadco sardine factory is here.
And this other one say interesting topic and report finding from IGR.
Okay, this one say, okay, they say thank you, Mr. Deputy Minister of Information and Civic Education for the articulation this morning.
And this other one say, Mr. Lavalie, the attitude of workman in a government entity in any way don't hamburg government institution them not for grow.
This one say with the huge bills now paid to the power ship, why did government discontinue the Bumbuna Phase 2 that would have cost government about just $700 million?
And this other one say good point by Mr. Bawo on the attitude of Sierra Leoneans with regards to government work.
Okay, this one say happy to see you on the show for the first time, Sheikh Bawo.
And this other one say the sardine factory in West Africa now, Sadco sardine factory is here now.
Okay, from the text messages, because of time, we can't with studio guest them and Andrew Lavalie, quick one.
Thank you very much. So I think the big summary from all of this, we actually need for encourage the government for let's stay on a lane. Government really good at governance. Government not good at buying and selling. You get for left buying and selling to other end to do buying and selling and do governance regulation for yourself. So if you will not need anybody for can't tell we say where you see ABES, they do better pass government transport system. We see mobile phone companies, they do better pass we own Seratel. We see private schools and they do better pass public schools. We see private hospitals, they do better pass with hospitals. We see Nigerian banks, they do, let's say, past Sierra Leone banks there. It shows say government not really good at business. So this series here we call Tragedies of Politics. If we say no more how they do business, and it's a way for like compensate people that don't support me inside election, waiting will happen, the economy, they just go down, it go down, it go down. Now that make day like this today, we get big plan like this, when at the National Development Plan, with a go big World Bank, with a go big other entities, yet with institutions that they rotting. Volume 2 of these Tragedies of Politics, they show say, if we try private sector, if we actually try them in very honest, open, and transparent way, we can be able for see the change. Somebody talk about privatization of ETSA. So there is quite a lot for really going to that, because even if you privatize, of course, privatization can help in some ways, but over and beyond that, the cost of production of electricity is very, very high. For less Sierra Leonean homes, they afford that cost is very high. Privatization can help, but actually electricity generation itself, we get, there's a whole, somebody talk about Bumbuna, why Bumbuna phase 2 stop. We actually need for go back to the drawing board on electricity. So I think say na the big summary down there for me, we get for encourage the government for let stay on it lane, let actually govern, because government are for govern and collect taxes. The one they do buying and selling, let them give them scope for let them do buying and selling.
All right, quick one to you, Minister. Most of the messages we can just support your view and the rest. So, what think will be your message so far to Sierra Leonean?
Including my colleague, government, yes, for still for govern. But also government gets the responsibility for provide essential services to the people. So, my message to every Sierra Leonean is we increase with civic responsibility to the state. When government provide job for you, now for let you do all you can do for increased productivity. When you do that, now the state they benefit. Yeah, let's compare ourselves with the private sector. Even when you talk about private schools and public schools, the same teachers that private school and then at the public schools. I was teaching at Vine Memorial, and I taught at the same time I teach at Modern High School. Sometimes when I go to school, the principal they ask me, Mr. Bao, not to left you one if we are saying no. You know me say because I can't teach her for dress anyhow. You know? Elective again mathematics, last period I'll stay. So now the same people. Why what would they do in the private sector when no one do in the public sector who they work for themselves? So I think say as Sierra Leoneans, let we rebrand ourselves, let we divorce politics from with daily activities. When election done, they will just pay attention to what they take Sierra Leone to the higher heights by committing every energy to developing our nation. Thank you.
All right, plenty. Thank you guys who are joining inside the program, inside the studios. This morning room gets the Deputy Minister of Civic Information and Civic Education, Bokari Abdel Aziz Bawo, and same also we get Andrew Lavalie, Executive Director for Nigeria